यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन जमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने Namaha Pankajanetraya. Namaste Pankajangriye. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 28. You can repeat after me. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyaktanidhananyaiva tatra ka paridevana. Purport and translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Purport. Accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of the soul and the other not believing in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet, even if, for argument's sake, we accept this atheistic theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation, just as from ether air is generated, from air fire is generated, from fire water is generated, and from water earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then, what cause is there for lamentation when either in the stage of manifestation or in unmanifestation, somehow or other, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost? Both at the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested, and only in the middle are they manifested, and this does not make any real material difference. And if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, antavatta ime deha, but that the soul is eternal, nityas yokta sharirinah, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on a chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated on the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of the non-existence of the material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of the soul or one does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for loss of the body. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललितां श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody to the Sunday evening class on Bhagavad Gita. So we are continuing with the discussion on the knowledge of the soul, which is from verse number 11 to verse number 30. It is also known as the Jnana section, where Krishna is revealing the most confidential knowledge. Because soul by definition is beyond matter, and matter by definition is one which is susceptible to the senses. We have 5 senses. So what comes within the grip of the senses is defined as matter. Not in the Shastras, it is given in the general science textbook. So this is beyond matter. It cannot in any way come under the grip of any of the senses. That is the nature of the soul. So who can give this knowledge of the soul? Not by experimentation. You cannot catch it. You cannot place it on the experimental table. You cannot do anything with the soul or with the Supreme Soul, that is God. And the only way to understand this knowledge is from the authority. And here, who is the authority giving us this knowledge? Lord Krishna, the Creator Himself. What better authority can we have? So we have to accept this on the authority of the speaker, that is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Therefore, this knowledge by that standard is authentic. And in today's verse, what does he say? He says, all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim stage, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? He is in conversation with Arjuna. Arjuna said, I am not going to fight. I don't want to fight against my grandfather Bhishma. I don't want to fight against Drona. They are so dear to me. So it is what is known as Dharam Sankat for Arjuna. And so now Krishna is trying to resolve his problem. So he is explaining to him that why do you lament? There is no cause for lamentation, because up to now he has explained it on the knowledge of the soul, that is, understanding that within every body there is a soul, and that soul is an eternal part and parcel of God, and the soul does not die. So he says, you don't have to worry. Even when you shoot somebody, when you kill somebody, in battle, not otherwise, then, though you will see that the person is dead, what dies is the body, not the soul. But now he is shifting the focus from that argument, because always, even today and even at that time, there are some class of people who do not believe in the existence of the soul. Believe me, it is there even today. Even today there are people who flatly deny the existence of the soul. I'll come to that when we continue our discussion. Why? Because they can't see it. Because they can't see it, they say it doesn't exist. But the facts are otherwise. Facts prove that there is some superpower which actually runs the body. Otherwise, how do all the organs stop working at the same time? So, now, let me just pick up this point now. How Krishna is gradually convincing Arjuna, step by step. Yes. There are two levels of understanding. Things may be unmanifest in the beginning, then manifested in the middle, and again unmanifest in the end. So, how do we understand this? Take for example, when a construction of a building is taking place. So, you go to a place and you see there is flat ground over there. So when you take the picture of that place, there is no building. So the building has not come up as yet. But what is used in making the building? Iron, cement, steel, bricks, wood, mud, all these things. But from where do they come? They come from the earth itself. So it is coming from the earth. The raw material for making the building is coming from the earth. But it is systematically assembled over there in a perfect manner. And when that is done, gradually over a period of time, you see a whole structure is standing there. And then you call it, now the building has manifested. It has come into being. It can be seen, it can be felt, it can be touched. But when this building becomes old enough, maybe 100 years, more than that, what happens? Will it be the same building that was built 100 years back? No. It will begin to degenerate. It begins to deteriorate. And a time comes when it has to be demolished. So it was unmanifest in the beginning. There was no building, there was only earth. Then it got manifested, and then it again got unmanifested. This is the nature of material existence. Everything here follows the same path. Everything. A car, for example. In the first place, nothing is assembled, there is no car in the picture. But when the parts all come into assembly line, they are assembled one by one. Ultimately, what rolls out of the assembly line is an automobile car. But how long will it remain? Then it has to be scrapped after a few years. It will get dented, it will get rusted, it will become non-functional, and then it has to be discarded. And then what happens? Then they actually scrap it. That means all the parts are separated, they beat it, and then they make the rubber separate, they make the metal separate, they make the plastic separate, and all the other parts are separated into their original elements, and it is again unmanifested. So this is the nature of everything in this material creation. So here Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, supposing you don't believe in the soul, even then, what is the reason for you to lament? So he is raising the argument like that. Now, this is one example we gave of a building for unmanifest, manifest, and again unmanifest. We can also take another example, because here there is no life in a building. It is just inert matter. But you can take the example of a tree. There is a tree. And you see that in the beginning, there is no fruit. There is just a tree, there are branches and there are leaves. Gradually you see a fruit appearing on the branch. Now from where does this fruit come? It comes from the nutrition that the tree is absorbing from the soil. It absorbs water, it absorbs the minerals. Then there is sunlight. Then there is interaction of the air. Without air also it cannot survive. So all these elements are going into gradually the formation of a fruit. And then the fruit also occupies some space. So that is ether or akash. So what are the 5 elements? Panchamahabhutas: earth, water, air, fire and ether. All these 5 elements are now there in the fruit. So now the fruit has got manifested. But then what is the purpose of the fruit? It is meant to be consumed. Some living entity has to take it. A bird may come and eat it, an animal may come and take it, or a human being may come and take it. And then what happens to the fruit? It is unmanifest. It is no longer in the shape of a fruit. So it was unmanifest in the beginning, gradually it has got manifested, and again it has become unmanifest. But if you observe closely, there is something that is unseen which is at work. And what is that unseen element? It is the soul which is existing within the tree. Without soul there is no life. If the tree is living, that has to be a soul. And there is a soul within the tree which is making things happen. The moving force, the dynamic force, that is actually absorbing the water, absorbing the nutrition from the soil, and combining it with the sunlight energy, and with the help of the air, it is manufacturing food. It is like a factory. But the only difference is, there is a statement which explains this very nicely. God made tree, man made factory. So what is the difference between the two, tree and factory? One is purifying. Tree gives life, and tree itself is living, and tree can purify the environment. It can also produce food. But factory, it causes pollution. That we can see, we know it. During the COVID, during the lockdown, there was a complete lockdown. And what did we see? All the factories had been stopped. Even the aircraft had been grounded. Even the road was now free of traffic. And what did we see? All the rivers, the water became pure. There were no effluents being discharged into the river. So, we saw how pure the rivers became, how clean the air became. So many photographs were shown of the peaks of the Himalayas being visible from as far away as Jalandhar. The air had become very clean and there was no Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki Jai. So it is very obvious that factories do cause pollution. That is the limitation of human endeavor and effort. We can do something, but we cannot match what the quality of production the Lord does. So that's one aspect. Now, but in the tree, the unseen element which is at work is the soul. We cannot see the soul, but it is the soul. Only if the tree is living can the fruit appear on the tree. Otherwise, there can be no fruit. And therefore here, Prabhupada is discussing very clearly, there are two classes of people, those who accept the existence of the soul and those who do not. So then, so there are two classes, the believers, those who believe in the existence of the soul, and the other are called as atheists, according to the Vedic classification. If you don't believe in the existence of the soul, you will be classified under the heading of an atheist. Atheist is a non-believer. Non-believer in God and non-believer in the soul. Because the soul, as we understood, the 15th chapter of the Gita says, Mamaivam sho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashasthani indriyani prakrite sthane karshati. The meaning of this is, Krishna is directly stating here, every soul, every living entity is my part and parcel. So it is an indivisible, inseparable part of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is of the same nature. The nature is the same. Only the difference is in stature. Nature is same, stature is different. One is infinite, the other is infinitesimal. Very small. And the other is so huge that you cannot even grasp in your imagination. So, Prabhupada in the earlier purports has given two names to classify the atheists or the non-believers. One is the Loka Yatikas and the other is the Vaibhashikas. But to try to understand in today's terms, the Loka Yatikas are the ones who believe in the popular philosophy. Now, what is the popular philosophy as far as day-to-day living is concerned? When I talk to people in general, those who are not interested in understanding Gita or God or relating to God, who just want to enjoy life, what do they say? Khao, piyo, mauj karo. Finished. Very simple. They just believe in that. They don't believe in any restrictions. Do what you like. What is difficult, avoid it. Don't do it. Just enjoy life. This is not something very current. It has been in existence all along. There have been people of that mentality. So therefore they were known as the Loka Yatikas. The Loka Sangram, that is, what is popular, even in today's terms also, sometimes governments take decisions and they say this is a populist measure. Populist measure means you are doing this just in order to win the favor of the population. You are just trying to do something, but practically it cannot work, because it will damage the economy. So people mention that also. So this is that kind of a philosophy where people just like to enjoy life, don't have to think much, don't have to worry. But in practically it doesn't work, that doesn't sustain. The Lokayatikas were there at Krishna's time too. Even today, the followers of Charvaka are those kind of people. Now what is this Charvaka? Charvaka is the name of a kind of a Muni who was in existence in the past. So he has made a statement. Now if you hear this statement, you will be able to understand what is the mentality of this person. He says, Ranam kritva dhritam pibet yavad jivet sukham jivet bhasmi bhutasya dehasya kuta punaragamanam agamano bhavet. The meaning of this is, even if one has to go into debt, that means beg, borrow or steal. That is, even if one has to go into debt, as long as one lives, he should live happily by eating as much ghee as possible. Because dhritam means ghee. So that was the standard of living at that time, earlier. If somebody is consuming ghee, means it is an item of luxury. It is an item of enjoyment. Since the material body simply becomes ashes at death, how will it ever come to life again? So this is actually a statement of irresponsibility. Why? Because they say, so long as you live, simply enjoy. Even if you have to borrow money and you can't repay the money, it does not matter. Just take the money, buy the goods that you want, enjoy it, and when you die, you are not going to be there to repay. Whom will they come and ask for the money? Escape, get away. This we see happening even today. People invest in the stock market, those who gamble on the stock market. If they feel that there is a very good return, they borrow money from others, they invest, and if it crashes, they will jump from the 21st floor, give up their life. So, kiske paas paisa puchenge? But do you think that is a sustainable philosophy? Do you think it is right or wrong? Can anybody answer? Why? What happens? Intent of positivity is not there. But what happens to that man? One man has lost his money, and the other man has taken the money, invested it, he has gambled it away, and now he has nothing to repay. So that is right. That means he will have to come again. But here what is the statement? Since the material body simply becomes ashes at death, how will it ever come to life again? That is the statement here. What does this mean? That means you come into life, you enjoy, and you go away, and there is no responsibility. You are not accountable for what you have done. That is the statement, right? So this is the statement of Charvak. So I remember long back when I was in my college days, I was standing at Borivali station, wanting to take a bus to go to Dahisar. And right at that point, I don't know if it is still there, at Dahisar East, at Borivali East, there is one big bar, restaurant and bar, and on top of it is written Charvak Bar. So see, people who want to take intoxicants, they celebrate and they glorify a person like Charvak because it suits their philosophy. Khao piyo mauj karo. So these kind of people have always been in existence, and even today they are there. Another example of that is Professor Kotowski. When Prabhupada was traveling to preach all over the world, he went into Russia. They call it the Iron Curtain at that time. Now it is not so. It was a communist country, and they call it behind the Iron Curtain because it's very difficult to gain entry there. But somehow they allowed him to come there. But they didn't allow him to meet the people. But they took him to select few people, and one person was Professor Kotowski in a big university. And when he met Prabhupada, and Prabhupada had an interaction with him, Professor Kotowski said, when a man dies, everything goes away. What soul? Where is the soul? Such a learned person, occupying a high position, this is what he was talking. So the point is, this mentality of some people will always be there, and therefore now Prabhupada is addressing Arjun. Through Arjun, he is talking to the people of the whole world, that even if you have that philosophy, even then, there is no reason to go away from your duty. You cannot escape your duty. So what you said is right. That person will have to come back. If supposing he jumps from the 21st floors and goes away, he will have to come back to repay. And he will have to take another birth and exactly work at the same place from whom he had borrowed the money. And he has to work under him and he has to repay him. That will happen one way or the other. That is the arrangement of the Lord. So this is what Gita explains from the point of view of the Supreme Lord. The whole picture is presented to us not from our point of view. Our point of view is deluded. Deluded means we are in confusion. We cannot see things as they are. That is why Prabhupada has named his translation as Bhagavad Gita as it is. As it is means as one should understand it. So therefore, the presentation is what is Krishna's point of view. We have to understand that. Krishna gives jnana, knowledge of the soul. Another word that Prabhupada has used in the earlier purport was nihilism. I was wondering what is the meaning of nihilism. So it is explained that means one who has no value for moral or religion. In life, one has to abide by moral standards. It is not that you can do what you want and get away and put other people to loss. That is known as immoral. But some people do not bother about it. So, such people subscribe to the philosophy, there is no soul, there is no God, and if they are allowed to get away, they don't mind breaking any rule. That is why there has to be law and order in the society. And that is why Krishna says, violence is required to maintain law and order, because there may be such elements and they have to be disciplined Otherwise, the society and people at large will suffer. The body can never be saved by nature, it is temporary. And the soul can never be killed by nature, it is eternal. So this is what Prabhupada is explaining. For those who believe in the soul, he says you should fight. And for those who do not believe in the soul, the message is given in this verse today. Death causes no loss, so do not lament. If you accept the soul, there are two analogies that are given in the purport. And what are these two analogies? Body is like a dress. So when a person changes his dress, is there any loss? There's no loss. The person is still there. He has only changed his dress. Today you may see him in a white shirt, tomorrow he may come in a yellow shirt. And the person is the same. Similarly, the soul changes body at the time of death. It gives up the old body and takes a new one. We did that verse. Vasamsi jirnaya yata vihaya navani grannanti naroparani tata shariraya vihaya jirnani anyani samyanti navani dehi. So just as we change our dress, the soul changes the body. And it goes to the next body depending upon its destination as per the karma and as per the direction of the Supreme Lord. So the other analogy is given that this body is compared to a dream. In a dream, one may see that one is riding a chariot. Or in a dream, one may see that I am a king. But what happens when the dream breaks? Suddenly he gets up and he says, oh, I am neither a king nor am I driving a chariot. Then he comes to the real terms, comes to the real understanding. So similarly, he says, so the body is manifest in the middle and it again becomes unmanifest. We all know from our personal experiences. We have been growing from our childhood to middle age to old age. And those who were with us as elders when we were small, today where are they? They have passed away. Till yesterday they were true, they were there, we were able to talk to them, we were able to interact with them. But today, after the death, what happens? The body is annihilated and the person is no more. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. The body is annihilated, the person is no more. Such a thing happens. So therefore, the Shastras clearly explain that this body is actually temporary. But it also explains that the soul which you cannot see actually does not die. It continues its existence. So the body changes from the unmanifest to the manifest and again to the unmanifest, back to square one. So we can summarize this on a practical level. What are we supposed to do? Do your best at every point of time. That means never fail in your duties. You have to work, we cannot be lazy. So we have to do your best. Then leave the rest. Because the result of your actions is not in your control. It comes to you by the arrangement of the Lord. That is what is explained in that shloka, Karmanya vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So do your best, leave the rest. Don't take tension, don't take mental tension. Arey, what will happen, what will happen? You have no control over it. Whatever happens, accept it. Do your best, but you should do your best. You cannot say that without doing your best. Without putting your effort, you cannot say that. You cannot fail in your duties. And then on whom do you depend? If you cannot even depend on your own efforts, on whom do you depend? Third line is, depend on Krishna. He is there for us because he is in an unmanifest state so far as we are concerned now. And therefore, he comes in a manifest form as deities in front of us. The deity is the manifested form of the Lord just in order to interact with us. He is there to accept our services and to give us a chance to relate to him. So it is not a stone, but it is a living entity. When you see the deity, deity is sajiv, alive. So how to relate to Krishna? Very simple method. He says, if you want to relate to me, simply chant my name. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. It is given in the Shastras. So he is stating it himself. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. He incarnates in his name. You will wonder, then why cannot I not do it with my own name? It doesn't happen. The proof of that is, if you are thirsty and you want water, if you just chant water, 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 will your thirst be subdued? Will your thirst be quenched? You have to drink water. You cannot just chant water, water, and you cannot quench your thirst. You have to drink water. So the name water and the substance water are two different things. That is on the material platform. But on the spiritual platform, things are not like that. Everything is absolute. That means the name, the form, the person, the message, that is the, message, is all non-different from the Supreme Lord. That is why the shlokas are so potent. The mantra, you call it as mantra. What is the meaning of the word mantra? Mantra means manatrayate iti mantra. That which gives relief to the mind is known as mantra. Trayate means gives relief. Actually, what is the word for chappal in Sanskrit? The word is padatrani. Pada means feet. Trani means that which removes the discomfort of the feet. So when you are walking, there may be so many uneven things on the ground that is causing you problem. So when you wear a chappal and go, what happens? Footwear. Then your feet are feeling comfortable. So just like that, padatrani means that which gives relief to the feet. So mantra means that which gives relief to the mind. Because the name of God is so potent, is so powerful, that when you chant His names, what happens is, it can actually appease your mind, give relief. Your tensions are relaxed. Because when the Lord is present in front of you, even in the form of His name, He acts. That is the point. He is full of life. He is full of force. That is why mantra meditation is potent. It is not a waste of time. It is an investment of time. That is what it does. One who can see the unseen is the true seer. Visionary is one who can see what you cannot see with your eyes. Therefore, people who are wise, who are learned in the scriptures, they are able to guide those others. That is why we need a guru. That is why we need a sadhu in the society to give direction to the masses who cannot see. And therefore, all these rules and regulations have been established. How to behave, how to conduct oneself, how to relate to the Lord. And when we follow those simple process, then what happens is, we are able to experience the presence of the Lord. We are able to interact with the Lord in a different way. Not in the way in which we interact with each other. With each other we can shake hands. With the Lord we can touch the heart. That is how the Lord touches the heart. Once in our group meeting, one lady told the male members, "You are very fortunate." Somebody asked, "Why do you say?" "Because you are male." She said, "Why?" We asked, "Why?" She said, "Because Guru Maharaj is a sannyasi and you can embrace him and he can embrace you. But we are ladies, we cannot do that." So we had a discussion. Is it a correct statement and how is it? The answer turned out this way. It is just by physically touching, it doesn't make much difference. Because when you are traveling in a local train, you are physically touching so many people. But does it make any difference? Actually, it is inconvenience, isn't it? But real touching is when you touch the heart. When you are able to touch the heart of a person, that is really touching. Then the person his whole attitude towards you will change. When you are behaving in such a way as to win his heart, as to touch the heart of that person, then the whole scenario changes. For this also I'll give you a small example. After attending the Bhagavad Gita course here, that was a 6-day session was there, which is known as the journey of self-discovery. Every evening we announce that to you over here. There's somebody waiting out. So that journey of self-discovery, after attending for 6 days, a person from here walked out and he went to Grant Road station. He was tired. It was late. And after the last session, 6 days he had been hearing. And this person was such a person that he was a rough and tough person. So when he got into the train was practically empty at that time. So he put his feet on the opposite bench and he put a kerchief on his eyes and he rested. He relaxed himself. At the other station, a big crowd came in and somebody roughed him up. What is this? You're putting your leg on the seat? क्या अपना बाप का घर समझा है क्या? Very rough he spoke to him and he roughed him up. This person was one, when somebody talks to him like that, he would not speak with the mouth, he would speak with the hand. But that day, it made a difference to him. Suddenly, he saw, oh, I had gone to sleep and this is... He took the kerchief, he wiped the seat in front of him and he told that man, I am very sorry, aankh lag gaya tha, main thak gaya tha. Immediately that man's stance also changed. Immediately he asked him, oh, you're not well, you're having a fever or something? It's okay, doesn't matter. You can relax. So see, this is what happens when you touch somebody's heart. When you touch somebody's heart, you win his heart, then the whole attitude changes. So real touching is touching of the heart. And the soul is in the heart. And that is the core of one's existence. So therefore, when you're able to touch somebody's soul, then you actually win that person. That is why we say soul satisfying. When somebody we are fully satisfied, the term used is soul satisfying. Okay. So I think I can stop here. Hare Krishna. So do you have any questions? Anybody has any doubts? We have just 3-4 more minutes and then afterwards the kirtan can start. If anybody has anything to say or express, you can. Yeah. Haribol, just a minute. Mic? You can just take the mic, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Tamal Pranam. In the scenario of Mahabharat war, Arjuna was made the instrument for the killing or dropping the bodies of Dronacharya and Bhishma Pitama. Just coming out of that context, in the current world, sometime we lose our loved ones, they also drop their bodies, and we have lamentation because of that. So if we lament in such a scenario, are we not following God's orders? How do we explain to ourselves?
I can explain that very nicely. That's a beautiful example to explain that. Arjuna lost his son Abhimanyu in the war. You know that. So did he not cry? He cried. But what did he do after that? The next day again he came and fought. He did not give up his duties. So see, we are human beings. We are not robots. We have emotions. And this is what makes life livable. Otherwise, a camera can also take a picture. A human being can also see things with his eyes. But it makes a difference. When a human being sees, his emotions are stirred. When a camera takes a picture, it makes no difference to the camera. It will go on clicking picture after picture. So this is the point. We are human beings, we have emotions, and we have to live with our emotions. So it is not recommended that you must not be stiff like a wooden, wooden board. Anything happens, no emotions. Not happy, not sad, nothing. No, it's not like that. We have to be. But the only thing is, we must not let those emotions affect our duties. That is the point. We must not let those emotions affect our duties. It happens when somebody close passes away, we do feel sad. We do take time to mourn. We do stay at home. There are a few days when we don't go out for work. We try to once again make up our mind and give time for the emotions to act on us. And then gradually we settle down and we come to terms and we once again take up our duties and resume our work. That is the answer, right? Hare Krishna. Is there anything else? Okay, so we can stop here. So let's complete. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.